ministers for years, and we appreciate them. I appreciate the opportunity to come and minister tonight. I never take an opportunity to minister for granted, because it's always an opportunity for God to do something. And I believe when services are orchestrated like this, there is a specific purpose. I don't believe anything happens by accident. I believe that God has His hand in the service tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed this morning getting to know some of your young people. We laughed a little bit, a lot of it in some of them. I think the boys had the most laughter, but believe it or not, they outlaughed the girls. But we enjoyed it. And so tonight, as the service was starting, I was just kind of watching and praying, and there were some things that God has put in my spirit that I want to say. Have you ever wanted to say something, but you got to say the other stuff first? So I don't want to rush through it. But tonight I want to focus on the subject of purity. And a lot of times when you hear that word, you think about, sexual purity. And that is extremely important. We don't want to miss that. And it's not, sometimes purity we think is one thing. Have you ever thought you've got this definition in your head of a word or a thing, and then it's like, wait a minute, it's so much more than that. When people start using drugs, 9 times out of 10, they don't just jump in to like cocaine or meth, or they start small. They start little. Oh, it's just one. It won't hurt me. I'll only do it on the weekends. I'll only do it when my parents are not home. But then that addiction begins to grow. And they begin to desire it more and more and more. And it's like all of a sudden, it consumes their life. And it's like, wait a minute, how did this happen? This was not my plan. This is not how I wanted my life to go. And if you look at the definition of the word purity, it means clean, clear, or unmixed with anything else. They say that, well, it's a southern saying, I think, as pure as the driven snow. It's not mixed with anything else. Do y'all make, I know we don't get a lot of snow in North Carolina, but how many of you have made snow cream before? Okay, when it snows, you can't do it the first time it snows. You have to wait for the second one. Okay, don't ask me why, my grandma just told me that, so I did it. You don't use it. But you also can't use snow that's mixed with ice to make snow cream. It doesn't have the same taste. Because when the ice melts, it waters it down. It's not the same. And so, being pure means not mixed with anything else. If you look at Romans chapter 12, verse 2, this is one of my favorite verses. And it says, "And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." This morning, the illustration that I used with the kids in finding Jesus and finding our purpose, I had some kinetic sand. And there were Legos hidden in the sand. They had to dig through the sand to find the Legos and then put together whatever it was, a truck, a construction vehicle. Where's Gaga? I don't see him. He had the excavator. We played with the excavator for a long time. And so they put these together, and what I wanted them to see was they had a purpose. And when you wake up in the morning knowing that you have a purpose, you have a reason for being alive, it makes you want to get out of bed. It makes you want to do. It gives you a desire to do more, to do better. And when we find Jesus, we don't just find this cool guy that died on the cross. Okay, I know Jesus. I go to church. Jesus is my Savior. There's so many people that fill the church every day. That's all they do. They just sit in church. Their life is no different at home than anybody else's. That's not a Christian. That's professing it. When you truly belong to something, If you belong to a club or a sports team, I'll use a sports team because I like sports. If you belong to a sports team, you're going to wear their stuff. You're going to buy a hat. You're going to have a t-shirt. You're going to want their colors. You're going to want to go to their games. Even if they're a horrible team. The Carolina Panthers was a rough team for a lot of years. Well, they needed help. I was embarrassed to be a fan, but I was a fan. That's the home team. And I'm thinking, man, we got to do better. But I wore their stuff because that was my team. If you're going to be on his team, then you got to wear his stuff. You can't look like the world. You can't act like the world. You can't be mixed with the world because then you're not his. Your parent, you belong to your parents. Most of them probably claim you. Hopefully you don't embarrass them too bad. I'm not sure if she's mine right now. You're theirs. There's nothing you can do to change that. You belong to them. If we belong to him, y'all, some of you look just like your mom or you look just like your dad. Have you ever had somebody say, your dad did that when he was little. Your mom did that. You talk just like her. You laugh just like him. You walk. Somebody told me one time, my niece walked just like I do. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but she does. Because we belong, she belongs to our family. When we belong to him, his nature is on the inside of us. And there's a verse in, let's see, when is it? It is, let me think. 2 Corinthians 6:14. It says, do not be unequally yoked. And a lot of people take that little sentence and apply it to marriage. And it can be. But that's not the only thing. Because the whole yoking is for mules when they plow a field. And if you put two, I was telling the girls this morning, if you put two mules in a yoke and one of them does not want to be in it, that thing gonna pull and pull and sometimes it pulls the other one completely out of the road that they're trying to plow. And so God said, I don't want you to be unequally yoked because somebody's going to be pulling you constantly. And those impurities are going to find their way into your life, not just theirs. And then it says, what fellowship hath lawlessness with righteousness? Why would I want to go hang out with drug dealers or drug users? I mean, unless I'm inviting them to church, I'm not going to hang out at their house and Netflix and chill on Friday night. They don't have what I want. Because I don't want to be strung out on drugs. I want to have my right mind. I try every day to keep my right mind. So why would I want to hang out with them? Because the more I hang out with them, the more their nature's going to rub off on me. I did this illustration one time with our young people. And I had one of them stand up in a chair. And it was a taller chair. And then somebody stood down on the floor. And I said, now I want you to hold hands. And I told the person in the chair, I said, I want you to pull them up to where you are. Just pull them up, she's in their arm. After struggling, she said, I can't do it. I said, exactly. And I looked at the one on the floor, I said, now pull her down. First time she was out that chair. That's how fast the enemy takes us out. It only takes one time. One time of allowing those impurities into our life, and it changes our life. It detours our life, sometimes forever. Sometimes some people never get back on track. And they wander around and meander through life, having no idea what they're supposed to be doing. Even though they may be in church every Sunday. That doesn't mean that they belong to Him. Having a relationship with Christ is sometimes like building a relationship when you're dating or you're engaged. Have you ever known anybody that was, I don't know, going with somebody or dating somebody, and they didn't like a certain food? Whether it was pizza Just FYI, that's my least favorite food. I'm sorry. I know y'all love pizza. My kids love pizza, but it's not my favorite food. So I'm going to use that one. So this girl starts dating this guy, and his favorite food is pizza, and she doesn't, I know it's a strange thing. I get it. Will you hand me my water? And she starts dating this guy, and her mom knows, like, she never eats pizza. They don't order pizza. And all of a sudden, she's eating pizza. All of a sudden, she loves going to the movies because he likes the movies. Her favorite color is yellow because, guess what? He likes to see her in yellow. And all these things start to change about her because she's fallen in love with this person. She wants to be like them. She wants to please him. She wants to make him happy. Just bring it up here. You're not going to know, I promise. And that's how we should be when it comes to our relationship with God. We should be wanting to please him. We should be wanting the things in our life to be like him. What does God like? Have you ever asked him? What does God think? What does he like? Have you ever asked God what he liked? Ask him sometimes, see what he says.
That's me. You like someone to listen?
Oh, yes, he does, honey. Every parent in here can testify to that one. We all love it when you listen. That's a good day. But do we know what he likes? How much time do we spend with him? If I like somebody, whether I'm dating them or I'm friends with them, I want to spend time with them. That's how you get to know them. I can't tell people what you like or don't like if I don't spend time with you. I can tell them, sure, bring a birthday cake. It's okay. My daughter told me after, like, I don't know how many birthday parties, she's like, Mom, can we do something different than a birthday cake at my birthday? And I was like, yeah. I was like, why? She said, I don't really care for birthday cake. Okay. I mean, sure, that's fine. It's your birthday. We'll celebrate. I don't care if you have a cookie or, a donut. Whatever. But if I know that she doesn't really care for birthday cake, I'm not going to buy a birthday cake. I'm not going to make a birthday cake because that's not what she likes. Now, I have another child that would eat the whole cake all by herself, It wouldn't matter if it's her birthday or not. I have to stop her from blowing out everybody's candles when we go to birthday. I'm like, it's not your birthday, you can't blow out some candles. But you learn what that person likes. And the things that person likes becomes a part of who you are. It's not just about you anymore, but it's about them. And so as we build our relationship with Christ, his nature becomes a part of who we are. I've been behind people in the grocery store, and sometimes, I don't know why, but sometimes people don't recognize me as being my father's daughter. And it's kind of funny because they do things that they would never do if they thought my dad was standing there. But I was in the grocery store one day, and the clerk that was ringing everybody up, I could tell that either he had some special needs or he was having a really bad day. I didn't know which. But I kept watching him. I knew he was kind of frustrated. And this customer in front of me, rude, just rude. And all I could see was the back of their head. I hadn't seen their face yet, so I didn't know who it was. But letting cuss words fly. You need to do this, and you need to do that. Okay, I'm sorry. That's just not okay. Last time I checked, Jesus did not curse anybody out. Last time I checked. And so I'm standing there, and when they turn to get something else out of their cart, I literally gasped. I was like, and I just dropped my head. I thought, they won't see my face. I don't want to embarrass them. Well, they saw me. It was too late then. And she turned around and she said, oh, hey! She said, how you doing? And I said, I'm good. How are you? I'm thinking, you're just going to act like this didn't happen. She said, it's been a rough day. And I thought, apparently. I would hope that I had a little more Jesus in me than, of course I didn't say anything to her. Right? God will take care of that. I don't have to. But she goes to church. She sings in her choir. She teaches Sunday school. And I'm thinking, if we're trying to win people to Jesus, and you're doing that, sometimes, and I'm not going to say Christians, I'm going to say church people, can be the worst representation of Jesus. Because sometimes our nature is not who He is. Sometimes we allow the things of the world to mix so much in our life that we are not even aware of who He is. Can I get a volunteer? Oh, I knew your hand would go up first. I knew it would. You were pretty, one of them. I knew one of y'all's hands. Okay. Can you put this shirt on? It's big, so it won't be too hard. All right. We're going to let this represent Jesus, okay? She has got Jesus. She just got saved. She has put on Him, and she is ready to do her thing and go out and be Jesus, right? And then she goes to school, and it's like, well, if they find out that I know Jesus and that I'm carrying my Bible and I'm doing this, they're going to make fun of me. They're going to laugh at me. They might not want to go eat lunch with me. I can't tell them, because if they come to my church, we shout and holler and dance, and they'll think I am crazy. So that peer pressure gets to you a little bit. Like, okay, we can do this. And then she starts thinking, well, if I invite her to church, they're going to think I'm like one of those Jesus freaks, and they're not going to like me anymore. And then what are they going to think of me when, I go to church and I have all this stuff that happens. What are they going to think? What do they think when the preacher, prays or, all this stuff? It's like, I don't know. I can't, I'll just be a Christian. I'll go to church and I won't do anything. And then, let's see, where's the one? Oh yeah, those friends. Well, I like my friends. They're nice to me. They just cuss a little bit. And only one of them gets drunk just to, every once in a while. It'll be okay. I can still have my friends. I can still hold on to my friends. Friends are hard to come by, right? I hold on to them. And then, now that one probably don't apply to you. I'm going to wait. Then I met this boy. And for you guys, you meet a girl. They'll make you do things you never thought you would ever do. Don't ever say I'll never, because you will. Just wait, she'll be so pretty you can't say no. Mom, I can't break up with him. His daddy has a lot of money. We could have a nice house. Daddy, but see, I really like him. I know he's not the nicest person. He gets in fights sometimes. But I really like him. Here we go. Now this one might not apply to you, but maybe some of the boys. Any of you boys like to play games? Yes. PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, DS, all that good stuff. I had to substitute driving the bus for our school the other day. And we have a child. He's not a child, he's bigger than I am, but he brings his Nintendo Switch because he's first one on, last one off, so he's got a long route, and he's playing it. Well, he was the only one left. Everybody else had dropped off, and he had turned his volume up so he could hear. I heard stuff coming out of that game. I put the brakes. I said, boy, what are you listening to? He said, oh, let me turn that down. I said, you better turn that off. I said, he's 12, I think. I said, does your mama know that stuff comes out of that game? He said, Now he's like 6 foot tall. He's only 12 years old. I keep my volume down. I said, boy, you need Jesus. He said, Miss Christy. I said, you need Jesus. I mean, the things that they come in contact, because I'm not a gamer, never have been. But they interact with these kids on games. I mean, these were curse words flying out of that Nintendo Switch. I was like, bless Jesus, honey. I mean, and I'm thinking, why? Why do you need that? Because that pollutes your life. It pollutes your mind. Because the more you hear things, eventually it's going to come out your mouth. Just watch a small child. You let them hear 2 curse words, and next week one of them's coming out of their mouth. It is human nature. We become what we're around. Okay. We're not going to pin this one for you. That's for the boys, okay? And then when you have, oh wait, no, I need to do this one first. This one right here. Do y'all know what that says? That has been the death of a lot of relationships with God. It's been the death of a lot of marriages. It's been the death of a lot in this nation. Let me tell you something before I pin this on her. Do you see this thing right here? And this thing right here? I don't need it that bad. If it's going to come between me and him, it's out. It is out. I would throw this, but I got my scriptures pulled up on it. That's all it is. Listen to me. I don't hold on to material things. They don't mean nothing to me. There is so much on social media right now. Our 8-year-olds are exposed to things that adults were not exposed to 5 years ago. If you don't know what's going on with your child's social media and that phone, honey, you better get up all up in their business. There is pornography. There are ads. There is everything. And they have one-click access. Once it's seen, it can't be unseen. Once their mind is polluted by the enemy, it can't be erased. Now I'm going to get a little nerdy on you. My degree's in psychology. Once they view something, it makes an imprint on the tissue of their brain for the rest of their life. One time, one wrong scene, one ad. Let me tell you, I don't play when it comes to that, because once they've seen it, then it becomes a part of their thought process. Every day. They go back to it. That movie, they go back to that one scene in that movie. It does not bother me to pay for movie tickets and get up and walk out. Yes, my children's face turned red, and yes, I have to calm my autistic son down. But honey, I'll calm him down all day long, but I'll keep him out of hell. I don't play. Let me see. Can you hang with me a minute? Okay. Legs not getting tired? Okay. When we put all these things on, I'm going to read another scripture. It's in James chapter 1, if you want to write that down. She's like, okay, God, my life is really full of all this stuff. My thoughts are consumed. I'm afraid of what people will think. I hadn't read the Bible in 3 months. And I only go to church once in a while now. But yet, she was so excited about Jesus when she first met him. But because all of these things she allowed in her life, now I want you to turn like you're walking away. Can you walk away? Every time she walks away, here we go. And one of them pulls on her, and they pull her back. And she tries to walk away again. No, come on, just one more. Just stay 5 more minutes. Just stay 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes may cost her her life, not physically, but spiritually. There's a scripture, and I don't know that I put it in here, but it talks about the constant war between the flesh and the spirit. Internally, this is what our young people go through. because they have so much to fight through when they walk through those school doors. The peer pressure, the influences, the things that are put in front of their faces. They weren't there 20 years ago when some of us went to school. They definitely weren't there 30 years ago. There was a time that we could trust that our children would be safe when they went to school. Unfortunately, that's not the case now. And I'm not talking about just physically safe, although that is an issue too. I'm talking about my child coming home and hearing things and asking me, Mommy, why do people say those things? Mommy, what does that word mean? Like I want my 5-year-old knowing that word. And I definitely don't want another 5 to 8-year-old explaining it to them. I want this stuff gone. I want my child to serve God without all the mess to fight through. Some of us as adults had to fight through our mess because we didn't get saved when we were younger. We had issues. We had stuff we had to walk through. We had things that we had to give up that were hard. But how many of our parents want better for us, for their children, than they had? We don't want them to have to get those addictions and those things. Social media is addictive. There's actually a college this past year that offered free tuition to every student that would be willing to give up their cell phone for an entire school year. At the end of the school year, the students looked at them and said, my thoughts are clearer, I'll rest better at night, and I have less stress. Sometimes we just got to lay this down. Do y'all know, I'm a people watcher. You go through the mall or wherever and oh my God. And that's what we see. I won't make you stand up here the whole time. You don't have to take the things off. You can just take the whole shirt off if you want to. And what was it? What verse did I tell you? James chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. But each one is tempted when he's drawn away by his own lust or desires and enticed. Now, let me stop there. When I was a kid, I thought lust meant one thing and one thing only. But if you look in the verse and you look it up, it means your own desires. Because some people, they have different desires than I do. Some people, alcohol is a thing. And they feel drawn. It's addictive to them. When I was younger, I got addicted to television. And I know that sounds so silly. But I was. I was a walking TV guide. I knew what time everything came on. I skipped meals with my family to stay home and watch a certain program. I was like, no, y'all go ahead. I'm gonna stay home. I used the excuse that I did, worked on homework and stuff, which I did while I was watching. But the purpose was to watch. If it weren't for my children, I wouldn't even own a television. We didn't own one until she was about 2 years old. I don't make time in my life for it because I want Him more than I want anything else. Because I learned in Him, I don't have to deal with issues. I don't have to worry about what people think about me because what He thinks about me is more important than anything else. There's a verse that says, Hebrews 12, 1 and 2. Therefore we also are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. Let us lay aside every weight and sin that does so easily beset us or slow us down. Now I want you to pay attention. This showed a difference in weight and sin. Some things are not sin. They just separate us from God, or they pull our time away from God. You can't serve God and man at the same time. Bitter and sweet water don't come out of the same place. I can't go to the water fountain and get good water, and Emma go to the water fountain and she's like, "Ooh, this stuff's nasty." No, it came from the same place both times. Where's your water coming from? It should be. It should be. I know the moms or parents can probably identify with this. When you have spaghetti or a sauce that's a little bit greasy, most of the time it's a red sauce, and it gets on the table or it gets on something, a paper towel don't cut it. You can't just wipe that up. And then sometimes you have baby wipe. I live off baby wipes. If you've got little kids, you live off baby wipes. Them baby wipes ain't got enough nothing in them to wipe. Nah, it don't work. It's still got that greasy film on it. You've got to get soap and water. You got to wash that thing off. If you allow the enemy, and I'm talking to the young people, well, I mean, if the old people can listen too. If you allow the enemy to mix with your life, he's going to leave a residue. That spaghetti sauce leaves a residue on the counter or the glass. Have you ever picked up a glass after say 5-year-old and under picks up a glass? The fingerprints and the grease and I'm like, Lord have mercy. Let me wash it and then give you a new one. Have you ever picked up a glass and just slipped out your hand? It leaves a residue. Sin leaves a residue. Pornography leaves a residue. Social media leaves a residue. These things leave permanent indentations on your brain and on your life. The definition, let me define this for the young ones. Residue means a small amount of something. That most of it's already gone, but there's a small amount left. I don't want that small amount left. I'm not willing to risk it because I'm going to heaven, not hell. And if your motivation for not going to hell at this point is because you don't want to burn, we'll work with that. We'll grow on that. I've had preachers that, they told them, you might get attacked by a bear when you leave. Let's make sure you're right with God. I am not into scaring people and serving God. Okay? But if you're scared of burning, I'll work with that. Because I don't want to burn. I don't like pain. I can't do it. And plus, I'm hot-natured, so I'm always like fanning or something. I'm like, Lord, I can't handle hell, Jesus. You got to make sure I make it. I can't handle it. Shoo. The only residue I want in my life is the residue of the Holy Spirit. After I've been in His presence. And when I walk out, I want to be like Moses, where my face is glowing with the presence of God. When I walk in a school, I want them to say, man, she's different. Man, look at her. My best friend, well, she's not my best friend anymore, but because I recognized what she was after she made the statement. We went several places, and she looked at me and she said, when you walk in a room, people just stare. She said, it's like you just walk in and set the atmosphere. And I looked at her and I said, because that's what my Father God wants me to do. I don't walk in and conform to the atmosphere. I don't walk in and if they're gossiping, go over there and see who it's about. I walk in and I say, listen, how about we say something positive? My mom draws up. Y'all, Dr. Susie, if you know her, bless her sweet soul, she has punched me in the leg several times in my life because I address it with the truth. She's like, I cannot believe you just said that. I said I did. Because I said I'm not going to stand here and let them talk to me about that person. I'm not going to let them talk to me like that. I'm not that. The God on the inside of me hates that. Why shouldn't I hate it too? Why should I be entertained by something that the man who died for me hates? Why am I going to allow my children to sit in front of games and televisions and be around kids that act ungodly? Not this moment. Because I protect the hand of God on their life. Where is Gaga in here? Where is he? Can you go get him? He made an impression on me this morning when I was doing when his group was in my rotation. Yeah, of course, all the boys made an impression on me. No offense, girls, y'all were awesome. We had fun. The boys, though, hey, baby, come here. Come here. Will you walk with me a minute? Here. Can I have this hand? I don't know who he belongs to, but this child has the hand of God on his life. I saw it when he walked in the room this morning. I saw his facial expression and I thought, there's something different about him. And he was so quiet. And we got ready to do the activity and it was a little above his age level. And he said, I need help. I said, all right, baby. I got you. And as I sat there and talked to him, we talked about, do you remember what you had? What did you put together? This morning with the Legos. Do you remember what it was?
Excavator.
He put together an excavator. And he knew exactly what to do with that excavator. We had kinetic sand. And he would dig and dig and dig with that sand. And then he covered up the excavator with the sand. And I said, oh man, how are we going to get it out? And he tried this way and that way. And I was like, what about this? He was completely consumed in that activity. But let me tell you something. I was consumed right here. Because this baby's got a purpose. And I don't want to see this baby polluted and tainted by the world. I don't want boys to make fun of him because he has a tender heart. Because that's the ones that God can speak to and through. Because when we allow our hearts to become calloused and we allow our hearts to become hard because we've been hurt, it makes it hard for God to speak to us. You go back and finish your story. Okay? Oh, wait a minute. I got something for you. Give it to me. You can take that home. Oh, it's all yours, buddy. That's the excavator in the sand. All right. You can take it home. Go back and finish your snack or whatever. I don't know what you were doing. Jesus got you, baby. When you leave this place tonight, young people, I want you to have an understanding of the enemy's goal for your life. He wants to see you destroyed, whether it's inside or outside. Do you know how many men have been destroyed by women? Defamed, put down. They feel less than a man because of what a woman did to him or what a woman said about him. That is shameful. Our boys don't need that. God called them to be men of God. Strong. Not afraid. Not worried about what some girl's going to think. Honey, step right on past her and keep moving. She's not the one. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, he said his face like flint. And there was a time in my life that I said that to God. I said, God, I've been distracted. I've allowed things to, not sin, but just wait. What that scripture was talking about, just stuff. Life is full of stuff. I've let those things cloud my mind and get all mixed up in my life. I can't do that. I have to serve you. Your call on my life is better and greater than anything else I could ever serve or do. I was telling the pastor today, I don't even remember what we were talking about, but I said, I'm a planner. I had my life planned out when I was 7 years old. God spoke to me and said, you'll start a school. You'll have an orphanage. And I knew missions was in my heart. So, honey, I had my life on track. 7 years old, I was about it. I was going to get it done. And when I graduated high school, I felt like I fell off the end of a cliff because none of my plans worked. And I said, God, what happened here? I am pretty sure nobody grows up and says, ooh, let me be the single mom of 5 children, 3 with special needs. Single parenting is not for the faint of heart. Let me just tell you. It's also not for the ones who like sleep. I haven't had it. Last night was the first full night's sleep I've had in 2.5 years. Bless Jesus. I felt like a new woman this morning. Let me just say, that was not my plan. But honey, what I wouldn't give it up for nothing. The things that I get to do every day, the lives that I get to touch and hold and bless and pray over, baby, His was the best plan. It is not, it's also not, single parenting with 5 is, it's not dating material either, just so you know. That's, when you're trying to find a husband, they're not looking for 5 extras most of the time. It takes a special one. That's all right. God's got that too. And I'm not worried about it. It is time for our young people to have enough of God on the inside of them that they stand up to the enemy that is trying to destroy them. I don't care if they're 3, 5, 10, 18. We have communities, we have homes, and we have nations to take back. And God has called our young people to do that. Adults, don't you dare back up from who you are, and don't you let them see mess in you. Don't be a hypocrite. Because, honey, a child will catch it quick. Mama, why did they do that? But Jesus said. I know what Jesus said. And I obey God. God has His hand on your life. And you know that. I'm not telling you anything new, am I? The abilities that He's given you are great. You don't have to choose between them. He has a place for you. And that place of ministry will fulfill the desires in your heart and His plan at the same time. Does that make sense? Don't miss Him. Don't miss Him. Stay focused. He gave you the gifts for a reason. That one right there. She's going to be in charge of something one day. Yeah, you got her. She's doing it right now. She's taking her notes. God has a call on your life. And that scripture that I said about lay aside every weight and sin, there's going to be some things as you get older that you're going to have to let go of. It may be friends. It may be extras. in front of your face. And don't let the enemy cloud your mind. Because he has great things planned for you. I don't know what they are. But I saw it this morning when you were sitting at the table. You may not always be the loudest, but you keep your heart clean and he'll use you. You'll be the most influential. Do you understand the difference? You too. Are y'all sisters? Twins, okay. I was having a hard time this morning with the girls, knowing who was related to who, because girlfriend over here was everybody's sister, and I'm like, are you really her sister? Yeah, I'm a guy, I got you too. There's times in your lives, that you have felt overlooked, that you felt ignored, like you weren't important. That's people, not God. Do you understand that? Because he has a very special place carved out just for you. He doesn't want you to feel inferior because that's not how he created you. You have purpose. The dreams that you lay in your bed at night and think will never happen, God put those desires there. He wants them to happen. You don't have to make it happen. Follow him and you'll walk into it like it was a new pair of shoes. I don't know if it's together or separate. I just know I heard the same thing from both of them. Don't ever forget that. Do you hear me? Don't second guess who God says you are. Because when the enemy can make you doubt, he'll move in and he'll defeat you. And you'll be 40, 50 years old and say, I never did what I really wanted to do in my life. I don't know who their parents are. Where? Them girls are special. Make sure you stay connected. Okay? Do they go to church here? Good, okay. Stay connected. Don't disconnect from him. What you looking at? Speak into the lives of your children, adults. Speak purpose. They have enough negative coming against them. Hey, she's not the only one who's going to use their mouth. Bless it. Do you hear me? God has not forgotten you. Your talents and abilities may not be as obvious as everybody else's, but they're there. Don't worry about finding them. You find him. You seek him, and you'll see those things just come to life. You'll start having thoughts, and you'll start having desires like, man, I really love to do that. Man, that's so cool. Just remember, it may not be like everybody else's, but it's yours, and God wants to use it. If I talk to you, you're going to cry. There's a special anointing on your life. You know that, don't you? When you're in services, you feel the presence of God. When he begins to stir, you know he's going to speak things to you. Write them down. Some of them may be for later in life. Write them down. I don't know what God's going to do for you, but he's put a lot on the inside of you. Don't get distracted. Don't listen to what people say. Listen to the heart of God. Get your ear close to his heart. That's the only voice you hear. I tell my 7-year-old, She has some special needs, and we deal with those. But I tell her, I don't care if we're in a crowd of 100 people, my voice should be the loudest voice that you hear. Because in that, you know what I'm teaching her? His voice should be the loudest voice she hears. I don't want her following other voices. I don't want her pulled by people around her. I don't know you, I've never met you, but when you walked in tonight, yes, you. God has something for you. The enemy has fought you at times in your life. I don't know how recent. But God has something for you. And it's just for you. I watched you today. He was like a shepherd. Pull him back in. This crowd was something today. Were they not? Yeah. We had fun. But he watched. He watched over. You don't see that often. Because boys, you know, that old song, girls just want to have fun. Now boys just like to have fun. They all about the games and cutting up, and he did it. But he was watching. You want to make sure everybody, they needed the bathroom, he took them to the bathroom, showed them where it was. If they needed, here, come over here, don't do that. Don't do that. So, was it loud? You know God's got his hand on your life, don't you? But you can't figure out what. You can't figure out how it's going to fit in. Because when you're your age, it's all about fitting in. Or so they say. I gotta fit in. I can't stand out, because then I see a David when I see you. You know what God said about David? David made a lot of mistakes. But he said he's a man after my own heart. And in the quiet times of your life, I see you seeking God. God, I don't know if I can do this. God, I don't even know what to do. I just know there's something there. Because you feel it, don't you? There's times in your life you felt it. Keep seeking him and you'll feel it more. The more you feel it, the more you know what to do with it. He has a tender heart. You afraid I'm going to say something to you, ain't you? Look at him. Were you the one I said needed Jesus today? No, I think it was somebody else. It wasn't you. Don't let other voices be louder than the voice of God. There's going to be stuff that tries to pull at you. You're going to want to do stuff sometimes. It's like, oh. Stay in the Word. When I was growing up, we were in a very traditional church. And all we ever heard was, not from my parents, but from like Sunday school teachers, read the Bible. You got to read the Bible and pray every day. You got to read the Bible and pray every day. That's all but they never said why. Why have I got to do that every day? I mean, as a kid, you want to know why. What? I don't even understand the King James. What? By the time I get to the end of the sentence, I don't even know what I read when I was 8 years old. Jesus wept. I got that one. He cried when his friend died. One day, I had a really good teacher, and I understood why I needed to read the Bible. Because that's how I learned about God. That's how I learned about His nature. That's how I learned about what He wanted me to be. And spending time with Him is like spending time with a friend. I just talked to Him. Hey God, I really need some Jesus right now because I want to throat punch that one. You ever said that? To yourself? No. You must not know the people I know. I got some people. But that's how you learn. You talk to Him. You learn who He is. When you leave tonight, I want you to leave with a determination to follow Him. A determination not to let the things of the world mix in with you and your heart and your goals and your stuff. If you're not determined and you don't have Him, you'll be drawn away by your own lust, by what you want, instead of what He wants for your life.